I don't know
That
why
time
that
already?
minute takes like so long, but it's so short at
Then
the
all
same
of a
time.
sudden we are done with it and we don't realize it. So yeah, here we are.
Yes. All right. So, if you can hear us, okay, give us a little thumbs up or say you can hear us. That's always a surprise, making sure that we have that
Yeah.
right. All right. So it's Wednesday.
It is. All
It
day.
is all day.
All day.
All day. All right. So
Yep.
one thumbs up. All right. So let's hope that means we're
Fantastic.
good. Yes.
So it's been a hot second.
I know. I feel I'm rusty.
Yeah, we're like, what button are we pushing and where's this and all kinds of crazy. So but yeah, it's been a good couple of your last week was kind of stressful. I'm sorry.
It wasn't bad. It was just
Lots.
It was just busy
Just
because, you know, during a normal week, we split the complicated questions and
She got them all.
there wasn't anybody to split them with. So I said I was Lisa and Jean and Sarah last week.
Yeah, she got all of them.
I did, but it was okay. We got through the week. My week went really quick. So there was that.
It does make the days can seem really long, but they do tend to go super fast.
Yeah. So that was good. We had a small little microphone snafu before we left. So
we are on one lone microphone between the two of us, which is why you don't see them on us. We should have the other one back soon.
Should be here tomorrow.
Yeah, so we will have it soon, but it was getting chubby along with me. So
fatty.
Yeah, that fatting was happening to the battery as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were having some problems with our words this morning, and we were blending fabric and batting, and it came out fatting, and I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about that word, but it's become a joke since this morning, and now it's just fun. So
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we had these have those lithium ion batteries in it, and the battery started to swell. But the company was great. We've had the microphones a little less than 2 years, and they're replacing it for us. So I was super happy.
Yeah, it's always nice when they don't give you a hard time, right?
I said to Gene, I was like, I've got bad news and good news. And he's like, what? I'm like, the microphone died. And I was like, it's going to cost about $300 to get new ones. And he just looked at me, and I was like, but I managed to get them to replace it. So I just saved you $300.
I'm going to go spend that over there. By the way, I just bought like $3,000 worth of fabric. So there you go. No, just kidding.
So yeah, the look on his face when I said the microphone died, he was like, and it's going to cost how much? I was like, but I got them to replace it at no charge. It just cost us shipping one there. He's like, great. I'm like, so I
like it. Let's go with that. Yes, it's never dull around here, guys. In case anybody thought that it was, it is not.
Yes. Okay. So I think
I didn't mean to do that.
We have, I think a bunch of people are tuned in today. So if you saw our email today, you saw that we were going to do a really cute 3D. It is pretty slick, isn't it?
Look at that. I'm ripping apart the box. I didn't mean to do that.
No, that is slick. Yeah.
That'll work.
So we're going to do a really fun 3D project.
Fall is sneaking up in case you hadn't walked outside.
Yes.
It's sneaking up on us. So we thought we would talk about some things that you could do, some really quick projects, fun and easy to do on the Scan and Cut, because it's been a little bit since we've talked Scan and Cut. So, and I was really hoping to do a Scan and Cut class this month when I got back, but that didn't happen. So this month is going to be over before we know it. And so here we are today. So we're going to do it here instead. Yeah. And as an added bonus, of course, this is all free. So we have linked in the design. I have, hello again. I'm sure this will surprise every one of you. I altered the design a little bit.
Right. So if you already downloaded it, you'll get a
notification email. I'm going to take what I did. So I made it bigger. I didn't do anything else really. I just made it bigger. So I'm going to upload the basically a 12-inch size instead of the, I think it's 9
Yeah.
inch size is the original. I was like, I want it bigger.
Mhm.
So I did adjust that, and I will send that out so that everybody has the ability to do that. It is a free download. So the link was in the email that we sent. If you
Also
can
in
find that, it's
the
also
description.
in the description for this.
Yes.
If for whatever reason you can't find any of those, it is also on our website. So you
Yes.
could find it there.
I think it's
And
called
was
free pumpkin shadow box.
Shadowbox. But if you
Yeah.
searched for Shadowbox, you would probably be able to find that
Yeah.
pretty easily. So free file, and we're going to talk about how to put all that stuff together.
Yeah.
I love doing these. I have done a whole bunch of them.
Mhm.
And this is just going to be one more.
Yeah.
And we do have a couple places that we're going to say where we sometimes get files from, or where you could
Yeah.
maybe go find.
So this is not the one that we're doing today.
Nope, I did
and
this one
we
a
haven't
couple years ago.
put today's together, so it doesn't look 3D
Done.
yet. But here is an example
of what you can do in a shadow box.
Yeah.
So a shadow box is a frame. You can get these in an 8x8 usually, or a 12x12.
Yep.
This one is obviously 12x12. But the great thing is it's an empty box.
Mhm.
So you get the glass, and then there's space in between the mat and the back. So you can put thicker items, three-dimensional things in there. So layers of paper, and we are going to use you can use pop dots, you can use 3D foam squares. We've got foam squares today. You can use whatever you want, or if you don't want it to really be 3D, you can just use
regular
double-sided tape and do that.
Or...
I have done a lot of, like I said, a lot of these, and I've read comments and different things from other people doing them as well. Some people use like the scraps of paper,
Mhm.
and they glue those like with just like the runners,
Mhm.
and they glue layers of those together as their 3D. So they're using their scraps.
Yeah.
So there's lots of ways that you can make this pop, if you will, without having to actually buy things.
Mhm.
But this is by far the easiest way to
Yes.
do that. So this is my way.
And these are not these were just from Joann's, so they weren't
Yep.
super fancy.
I have gotten them from Amazon. I mean,
you can
get them anywhere.
Yeah.
So they come in different sizes, so you can, see what kind of spacing that you need and go from there. So
you could also cut them a little smaller if you have,
absolutely,
and it's a little too
they
big.
are pretty sticky.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something to think about. One thing that I read, and I don't know that I want to do that, is some people put the sticky side down, but they don't remove the double-sided part. And so because they're all cut to the same size, the layer automatically, but where if you put the double-sided sticky, it's kind of easy to oops.
Oh, for sure.
Line up. So if you don't peel off that layer of double, the top
then
layer,
you've got a little bit of movement while you're
it can
getting
move,
everything.
but when you put it in there, it's going to sit at the bottom, and they're going to line up perfectly.
Right.
So something to think about, and one less thing that you have to do when you're putting it together.
That makes sense.
We can maybe try that, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So how do we make them?
With a bunch of files.
A bunch of files.
This one has
four. This has 4
files.
layers. The one that we just held up had, I believe, 7. So there's definitely different amounts of layering, and some are going to be a little bit more time inclusive than others. This is just standard cardstock. There's nothing fancy about any of it. You can mix and match types of cardstock and weights. It doesn't matter. So literally all we did was pick through what we had here. So, you might look at those and go, why did they choose those colors?
Why isn't your pumpkin?
It's because that's the colors that we had here. So we decided to do this morning, and this is what we had to work with. So, you can, of course, change colors. There's nothing that says you have to do the colors that we're doing.
Right.
We chose 4 different colors, and so you can see the different layering.
Yep.
In the description, I actually labeled them, and that's how I work when I'm doing a layered thing. I will pull it through my cutting system software, and I label it so that when I get to the machine and I'm like, no, which one is that? I label it green, orange.
Yeah,
that
makes
so
sense.
orange 4, orange 6,
right?
Whatever. And that way I know exactly what it is that I'm cutting and what order I want to cut them in and layer them in. So a lot easier and can be a lot less confusing.
Right.
And you can do that actually right in Canvas Workspace. The download version, the free version, well, they're both free, but the free software that comes with your Scan and Cut
Yes.
has the ability for you to save the individual layers and label them how you want. You're going to just use the layering tab. Super easy. So that's what I do and highly recommend it. It's much less confusing when you get to your Scan and Cut when you can't always see the pictures because depending upon, if it's SVG or if it's an FCM, it's going to depend on whether you can see the image there or not. So if all you can do is read the name of it, you're like, no, which one was that?
Yeah, because 1, 2, 3, 7, 6, 5 doesn't
not
make any
super
sense.
helpful, right?
Yeah.
So I just label them the color paper that I want it to be on.
That makes sense.
And what layer number it is. So if I have 4 layers that are all in orange,
right,
I have 4 that are labeled orange, but they have a number after it that says, where it goes.
Awesome.
And then I can scribble a little number on the back of it or whatever so that I don't get confused later. If you're getting a lot of layers, it can get like, where is this one go? So
it can.
That one had a lot and it was the same colors repeating. So it was like, which one goes which?
It was hard to see. And that one it didn't come separated. All the files were together.
It didn't. So part of that class, when we did that class, was breaking it apart.
Yes.
So, and how do you use the layering feature in Canvas Workspace so that you can know what you're doing?
Yeah.
So, but these I've separated out. So.
Yep.
All right.
And it's so cute.
It
I can't
turned
wait
out
for you guys
really,
to see
really
it.
cute. So I've got just a couple pieces here that we'll talk about how to cut.
Yep.
And if we need to cut more than one thing, we can cut more than one thing, which is why I want to make sure I have more than one piece of paper.
Yes. And then we'll show you how to put it all together and what it looks like.
And how to build it and all that good jazz.
Yeah.
So no comments or questions are popping up, so we're going to just keep moving forward.
Right.
And so here is my workspace. You can see my beautiful Scan and Cut here, and I have a standard mat, which is pretty sticky. There are a lot of little cuts in here, so you do want to make sure that your paper is stuck well. I have definitely been known to tape my paper down when I'm using it. This won't help a whole lot to tape those edges because there's that big square around the outside. So as soon as you tape it, it's going to cut right through it, which isn't going to help you a whole lot. So what you'll want to do is make sure that you have a nice amount of stick. Thank you. And I've got that on there. Now I could put this in and cross my fingers and hope nothing's going to shift. I don't normally, I'm not a brayer. That's not my thing. I don't really like that in general because I like my stuff to come back off. And sometimes you can over push and then paper will split.
Right.
Which is never a good thing because then you have a side that looks all rough, I guess, for lack of a better. But I do want to make sure that I don't have any really loose spots. And sometimes you can't really tell with paper.
Yep.
And as soon as you go to bend your mat, sometimes it pops back off.
Exactly.
So you do want to make sure that the paper is going to be stuck. Now I've just got one layer loaded on here. We've got them already cut, so you don't have to wait for us to cut all of them. But we wanted you to see how this works. So I have in my standard mat, which is the purple here.
If your standard mat was brand new, they might want a low tack mat, right?
You might want a low tack mat, but it would need to be a pretty good low tack mat or else that paper's going to pop off. If that's all you have is a new standard mat, you can use that. Don't really push because you need it to come back off. Right. So certainly, gently press it in so that it sticks. But remember, you always need to remove it as well, and you don't want that to be torn. Yeah.
And this is cardstock, so it's a little bit thicker. It's not printed paper.
Right. It's not printer, which is super thin.
Right. Which
so it will come off, but if you push too hard and it's too sticky underneath, it's not going to come off well.
Right.
So this is the blade that I'm using. And pretty much every time I'm using paper, this is my blade, right? This is the standard blade. I have gone through 6, 8 different pieces that I've cut in the last little bit just like with your regular scissors, when you're cutting paper, it's going to dull that blade sooner than other more gentle things. So keep that in mind, and keep an eye on if you start seeing some shredding, it's probably time to replace that blade.
Yep.
So more pressure does not always work with paper.
Right.
Because
It
more
just
pressure
drags.
just drags, it makes it drag. Exactly. So I've got my blade in, which is my standard blade. I've got my standard mat, and I have this, and it stuck pretty well, but again, I didn't kill it. So, I mean, it's not like jammed into every nook and cranny, but it's on there pretty well. And it's going to do pretty much the whole space there. This is only a couple minute cut, but I'm going to go ahead and let it go. The auto feature here, if anybody is new to Scan and Cut, what our Scan and Cuts do is it tests off, and then it goes to wherever your cut file is, and it sees the difference between that where there isn't material and where there is material, and that is how it decides how to set the blade, which is a pretty nice feature. So you don't have that stress of you know, what do I set it at? Nope, that didn't work, and now I have to adjust it, so on and so forth. It's pretty much going to do all of it on its own, which is what I love. So hello, Miss Candy, how are you today? So pretty quick and pretty quiet, which is also a really
So
nice
much
feature
than the CM series.
Oh, big difference, absolutely. One thing while that's cutting that I kind of wanted to talk about, there are cardstocks that have a white center, and there are cardstocks that are the same color all the way through. This kind of thing is going to make a difference when you're doing things like this, because if you get that turned up corner edge, something where you have just this tiny little piece and maybe it didn't cut quite as clean as you wanted it to, if you have a white centered cardstock, you're going to see white instead of whatever color happened. All right. So I'm going to hold that up to so you guys can see how that is white in the center instead of yellow. Hopefully you guys can see that. All right. Versus having something that's dyed all the way through. So did I grab the right paper? Yes, I did. And then here is the corner of the black. You can see that that's dyed all the way through. So big difference if you're seeing edges turned up just a little bit from a corner or a point that was happening. It will definitely be visible if you have a white center. Now, sometimes you want that look. Sometimes that is exactly what you want. But other times it's exactly what you don't want. So pay attention to what you're purchasing and make sure you're getting what you want when it comes to cardstock. So that white center, usually it says right in the description of whatever it is that you're buying. As far as the weight goes, with this, it doesn't matter. You know, how many pounds it is makes absolutely no difference at all. So we are almost done there.
Just by definition, cardstock, it's going to be heavier than your printer paper.
It's going to be heavier than printer paper.
So any standard cardstock should be plenty.
Yep.
It's because you wouldn't want to do this with just like regular construction paper, because it would be a little.
It would be a little wimpy. It would be a little wimpy.
Right.
Yeah.
You really have to put a lot of support in like the smaller
You would have a lot of glue.
Yeah, because
you're going to have to glue a lot because those inner parts would not sit up pretty,
right,
like you want them to, without having a little bit of help.
Yes.
So having the heavier paper will make those
stand on their own.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. So you can see it's stopped cutting, and I am going to remove off that outside piece, and I am going to very gently lift and that is the piece that we need that will go inside the shadow box. So the different layers show different parts of whatever is happening. So you can see when you have your background or whatnot, that is going to be the base layer in this case, actually shown. That is piece number 1. So let's actually move over there. I'm not going to clean this right now. I'm just going to get it out of the way so that you guys don't have to watch me pick these pieces off the mat. But in case anybody is wondering, what do I do to get these pieces off? I don't roll my mat. I hearing people like, oh, I just roll it and they pop right up. The problem with that, of course, is that you can get permanent bends and things in there, and that's
Yep. And
scary.
if you wonder why your mat doesn't feed
in well, that is why. So I will gently, I do gently give a little bit of a bend, but that just picks up those edges, and then I can get right underneath of them. If you have the little metal spatula, that goes underneath those really, really well. If you would like to, I lost my scraper. I don't know. Oh, it's white on white. Imagine that. You can also gently, a who what?
A magic pin or a cool pin. She just wanted to feel them.
This
Yeah,
pin.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any of those.
I haven't seen them. I don't know where I've seen them.
Nope. I don't think I have any. So anyways, there's lots of different ways. I do just a light, gentle bend and then get underneath those corners. That's what I generally will do. All right. So getting that out of the way. So here's all of our cut pieces. And this is the piece that I just cut in the green. And you can see that, I'm so sorry, pardon me. It looks exactly the same. Can you imagine?
Imagine.
So this particular piece doesn't have a back. So you could pick whatever color that you wanted to. I just picked something solid that didn't look completely vomitous with the colors that we had. So you need something to build on.
Right.
This first piece can be a 3D off of your backing piece if you want. It just depends on how much you're looking for. So if you want that to be, you're going to be working on the back side of your pieces, and you're going to just add in your adhesives. So you can set in however much you think that you want. I don't over adhere. I think that there's, definitely a thing of waste, but what you don't want is too little so that you get a dip in like the middle. You definitely want to make sure that you have some support in there. So you can see these aren't huge. This particular cut is got plenty border space. It's nice that it has that bright blue that they can see where that's at. And so I'm just setting these on here for some loft. And there's a lot of open space here. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of extra in those open spaces. And I'm going to call it.
Yep.
I think that's good enough. All right. So there's not really a right or a wrong here. And if you get to a point where you're like, oh, that doesn't look like I wanted it to look, go back and add some more. Not a big deal. So you can see already with just those pieces that I have, maybe you can't see. You can see that there is loft based on a shadow around where we have those pieces.
Right.
That's what we're looking for. We're going to have that 3D because it's going to build up. And you can, like I said, the more glue you have in more spaces, the more it's going to lift.
Right.
And whatnot. So if you think that you need more, go back and add more. So if you like, oh, that's too flat there, go add a piece of glue. No big deal. All right. So the next piece, if I have based on this, is going to be my black. And that's going to go, sure it is. They're, those little, remember those monkeys in the Barrel of Monkeys?
Yep.
Yeah, it was Barrel of Monkeys right there. So this is going to sit right on top of that. Look at that adorable cat. Isn't that, I mean, you could quit right there. That's just stinking adorable. So we need to make sure that we've got that being lifted up. Now, you'll notice that there's not really a piece there. There's nowhere for that to go. But I can have that sitting up from here. So I can put two pieces or three even if I wanted to. So that comes up from the bottom. It's literally, how do you want it to go?
Exactly.
There isn't a right or a wrong. So I can look at that and go, okay, well, obviously I know I need to go around the outsides. And then I need to get these lifted up here. So my squares might be a little big for some of these interior spots. So again, I'm working on the back. All right. You never want to put them here because you're not going to know what's being seen and what's not being seen.
Exactly.
You always want to work on the back of your piece here.
And the advantage of not peeling off that paper right away
Is
that
you
you
can
have the ability
see-
to keep flipping around
Yep.
and double checking and seeing.
Exactly. So like I said, if I wanted the cats to really stand up off of that backing, I could put multiple pieces together there so that the head isn't going to sink in
Mm-hmm.
if you want. And again, you could keep going with all of that. As we mentioned earlier, you can take, and if that's going to fit in there, but some of these spots it probably wouldn't, we can cut those in half and give a little bit more loft in some skinnier areas. So keep a pair of scissors next to you so that your adhesive has wiggle room. And then you can push that out into those smaller areas as well, like so.
So cute.
All righty, so we're just gonna go around the outside. Did I leave that little black pumpkin out? You know what I'm talking about?
I do. It can't be far.
I think it's flat on the table over there.
Oh, yep, I see it.
So there's a lot of ways that you can make things 3D. Sometimes it's the way that the designer just created the files themselves, and the pieces fit together to make it 3D. So it's not layering as much as it is just the way that they go together. So kind of like what we do with like a lace house or something like that. So I don't know if you want to switch while I'm building over here.
And then I drop half of it. Just as I switch
One way
the
to-
camera.
One way to go.
Look at how adorable this is. I bet it'll sit right here. How cute is that? So this is done, as you can see. There are two pieces, and then there's a space at the top. So they just slide in, and then you've got this 3D tree. So cute and so easy.
That particular piece had multiple different designs that you could choose from,
Mm-hmm.
and mesh together. Some of them had the top slot, some of them had the base slot, and so you just pick the two that you wanted. I think it had 10 different designs, and they were like, half and half
Mm-hmm.
of top and the bottom. So
Mary is asking, where did we get the design?
so this particular design, both of these designs came from Design Bundles.
So designbundles.net is a really good place to find a variety of these styles of things.
Cut files,
Cut files,
image files.
They
got it. They got it all.
Yeah, fonts. I think they even have some embroidery designs these days.
They do. They have some embroidery. I have no idea if they're any good. I've never done one
Right.
of their embroidery files.
But fair warning, don't go there if you don't want to get lost in the website, because there's so many
There is
cool
just
things to
so
see.
much. It is. You're gonna go down a rabbit hole. Warning! 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 All right. So
No, you're just gonna have to go home and watch this.
So I have the foam squares on the back of this now, and I don't know if you can tell. If I can, and you can see that there is, the loft in between. I've got the pieces underneath the cat, so he's not sinking down. He doesn't fall down in there.
I think you can really see the dimension. You probably don't know that you're seeing the dimension on the thing, but it definitely isn't flat. So yeah, there you go. You can definitely see it. It's really cute.
So, and the more pieces that you add, you could get really tiny pieces and go along here, and then that would pop up as well. So the more pieces you add, the more loft you're going to get. So there's definitely space, you know, in where that's at. You can, I don't know if you guys, how much you guys can see, but there's definitely loft in all of these areas. So it's going to continue to build up the more that you add. I will say I probably over glue or over add so that I get the most amount of loft. If I'm going to do this, I want it to have a lot
Absolutely.
more bang for my buck.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm definitely hurrying at the moment. At home, I would spend more time and
yeah.
cut little tiny pieces and get them in, you know, into the nooks and the crannies and so on and so forth. So we are going to move back to our layers. We've got 2 more layers to go here. The next one is going to put a cat on a little bit the other side. I know I zoomed out. My bad. Let's fix that. There we go. So we've got another cat here with more layering. And then our final piece is going to just be the pumpkin outline itself over the top. So we're just going to rinse and repeat. We're going to keep adding on to those. I just need to see how much cat sticks out. So the cat's bum there needs a lot of loft. Needs a lot of that fatting over there. It needs some fatting. So it needs some loft because it's got to go through multiple loft layers here. Over here, I could probably get a little bit there so that it doesn't sink down. And again, how much do you want? That's always, there's, again, not a right or a wrong.
But to have a lot of fatting in it.
It's got to be super fluffy and fun to play with, right?
Right.
All right, so you can start with the easy stuff and frame around the outside. Again, as much or you want, as little as you want here. You could just do 3, you know, the corners and the centers if you wanted. I personally find that that's not quite enough. Sometimes I'll even do 5 with a 12-inch piece and do a center.
And then one in between.
And then one in between each of those. Again, I'm trying to...
There's no rush.
I know this is totally riveting to watch, right?
You know, I think it's good for people to see how fun it is and how easy it is.
This is definitely not a challenging piece.
No, but
you
I mean,
you
it
let
looks
your you
challenging.
let your machine do the hard work of the cutting,
right?
And then you just have the fun of the embellishing of where you want the pop to be. You know, there is also, when you're working with paper, you can take markers or ink pads and color in the edges. So if you've got a color of fabric that's not fabric, color of paper that you want to accentuate a certain area. So maybe I want this to have a little bit more on his whiskers or something. You could not, I wouldn't color on, I would color the edges of the paper. And that kind of just pops. It's kind of like putting our mascara and eyeliner on. It's the same concept. And you can add a lot to the paper by doing things like that. So you can definitely give it a lot more if you're wanting to do more, you know, maybe that's not necessary. So it's just a depending on what's needed.
Right. Put a little glitter in there.
You could put
along
glitter.
The edge.
You could put all kinds of stuff. So it's just a matter of how much time do you want to spend and how much pop do you want it to have.
I think when you see these, you do not realize just how easy they are. Like, it just looks like it would be a lot harder.
Yep.
I think a lot of things with the scan and cut are like that. Like, if you look and you
feel
think,
intimidated by whatever the process is, but it's not anywhere near as hard.
We literally, and I say we, because all I did was help her look for paper, and I didn't even succeed in that part. We started this at like 2:45 cutting.
I did.
And she had
was like, we're running out of time. I'm like, I'm eating my lunch. What are you? Leave me alone. I'm eating. I'm hungry over here. Leave me alone. So there's definitely a lot of fun things that you can do And it shouldn't intimidate you because they definitely are way easier than you probably think they are. So again, I'm not peeling off these backs at the moment anyways. I'm just layering them so you can see.
I just cannot believe how cute this is. You know, I'm a
When
cat.
when I came to the cat file, I was like, "Hey, what do you
I
think?" She was
know.
like,
I was
"Yeah, that's a
so
good one."
cute.
So I'm hoping you can see that. I mean I can really see it, but you can see, um, the layers are really showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell from the picture?
I can
Or
definitely tell. Yeah,
okay.
I think you can see a little bit of the shadowing around the edges of the pumpkin. So I definitely think you
Cool.
can see it.
All right. So I've got one more layer to go. And again, if you have that background piece, you certainly could cut that with that squaring stitch kind of thing. We could, it's not squaring stitch, it's a last outline type thing. We could certainly do that. Maybe I'll add that in as just a square.
Yeah.
So if you want your back piece to match up, what I have is the brown here.
Yeah. Just and you could just trim it on your. You could trim it.
You could trim it
by
easy enough
hand, yeah.
via rotary or scissors, but why not let your SnL do it?
Exactly.
So I will make sure that the ones that I've altered here have that squaring stitch on the outside, that you can do just that. Because then all of your squares would match, and when you set them down, you wouldn't have to peel off the adhesives if you didn't want to. Everything would line up perfectly.
Exactly.
So I'm going to start filling in the center here. Anywhere I can get those large squares first. Okay, and then I'm going to start cutting some down and getting so the cut files. So somebody asked me once, well, couldn't you create that? And I was like, yeah, I could. So much easier to buy it.
Yeah. That took us 3 minutes.
and
check out
this particular one. So I have like the buyers club thing from Design Bundle because I do enough that it's worth it for me. But files are
inexpensive.
very inexpensive. I would say on average less expensive than embroidery.
Less than a cup of coffee.
Definitely less than a cup of coffee. So, when I think about my time and how much time it would take me, hi there, how are you? To create this versus the couple of dollars maybe that it would take to purchase it, totally not worth my time to stress about it and move all of those things around. It's just not worth it. So I'm going to just do a couple more and then call it. All right, let's see. Bum, bum, bum. I think we need maybe a couple more.
No, you're fine. Yeah.
Anywhere you want.
Yeah. The only way you'll end up on camera is if you
walk
come back
right
here.
behind us. Yep. You can walk behind us if you really want. All right, I think that's good. That's probably good. Let's maybe put some right here. So I'm just giving this last layer, the pumpkin lines, a little bit of there. We'll see how that looks, but I might go back and add more to that if, when I'm doing this final round kind of thing. So once we're going to layer that all together.
Look how cute.
And I'm going to zoom out first so you can see the whole thing. So this is the file, and again, we've placed this on our site so that you could download that. We've got our gray kitty here, and really the only other things that are shown from that little kitten there are a scroll here, and then a line up at the top. So the color that you want your cat to be,
Right.
that's what color paper you want to choose.
Right,
You know, that's
right.
the main thing that you got here. And then the same thing with the black cat over here, though. I think you definitely need a black cat. But you've got some scrolls, but you're not seeing the pumpkin lines.
No.
Even though they're in those cuts, you're not going to see them in the final.
Right, just on the top.
Right.
And like and then you kind of see on the base.
You see kind of the shadows of them, but you don't see that color really there. So
Right.
when you're picking these colors of paper, what you're really what color do I want my cats?
Yeah.
That's what you're really looking for. This color here with the hearts, that is definitely going to show. So that base color there, you're going to want to have, and you can definitely see the loft there for sure. But that personally, I don't know, you might want to choose a different color for your gray cat there. It's blending into that green a little bit. I think it needs a little bit of pop, but it's still very cute. So that's what you're going to want to look at. And then this is the pumpkin is really all that you're seeing on that. I could, color, I could add gems around my outside of the frame. You can do whatever the heck you want here to add anything more if you wanted your exterior frame to have a different look other than that yellow. So there's lots of things that you could do there as well. So that is as complicated as it is to build a shadow box.
Yeah.
Again, sometimes there's 7. I think I've even had that had like 13 layers, and I'm just like, holy crap. Those are ones I don't generally put much, if anything, because by the time you layer all, it's not going to fit in your shadow box anyways.
Right.
So unless you're literally leaving it raw on the wall without a frame, you don't want to put too much glue in between each of those layers because you're not going to have any space for it. So if you are happy with the way that it looks, then you could go back and start peeling pieces of glue and permanently adhering them. If you like the idea of floating, maybe just peel the outside frame.
Yeah, so it stays to the back.
It stays in position, but it doesn't, you don't have to line up all of these pieces. You're just lining up those outside corners.
Right.
Way easier.
So if you put that in a shadow box and it was kind of free flowing in there, could it might tip forward a little bit.
It could.
Yeah, so you might want, depending on where you have because if you have your dots, they could in an area where it's really thin, your dots could weigh down your paper in that area and make it bubble a little bit.
I've not had it sink. I've not had that because with multiple layers, it's usually stiff enough by the time you put those together. I've not had that, but if they're not glued together, you could definitely have that. I could see happening unless it's tight in there. But you could also put in like a little bit of foam or something and glue in a foam piece at the top.
Yeah, to keep it from falling forward.
To keep it from falling forward, just fill in that space that would be hidden up behind the
frame. Yeah.
So I mean, there's certainly wiggle things that you could come up with. What you would need to do to keep that in there. So when you buy a 12 by 12 frame, of course, what your actually space is not quite 12 by 12. So you're going to need to bring that in. What I have here is 11.5 by 11.5. So that's what I ended up doing. But like we were saying, the 3D pieces, this is the 2 pieces. You can see how they just fit together here. I'm going to separate them so you can see. We've got cute little hanging pumpkins off of a spooky tree. And then continuing with our spooky tree theme, we've got, it was kitten day. So we've got cats and pumpkins and a spider web and then some more cats over here. So with this particular piece, and this was again from Design Bundles, you just slide those 2 in and yeah, you just do that. And they then, make your pumpkin, and there you go. So it would sit on your table or wherever you put it and have that cute little decor of fun. And again, you could add rhinestones, like black rhinestones or something to the tree or to the,
cute.
I mean, you could add so easily papers and different things to that. To here, you could give them little crystal eyes. I mean, it's so simple.
Yeah.
Just put a little dots of glue and give them little little beady eyes
Beady
staring
eyes.
at
Yeah,
you.
it's my cat all the time.
Right. I mean, cats do definitely stare at you, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I can't have them.
As I wake up in the middle of the night thinking he's gonna jump on me from the giant
So,
shelf.
But yeah, so you can add as much or little as you would like. You know, if you are looking at coloring the edge of something, if somebody didn't understand what the heck I was talking about, literally taking and just giving a brush of color along the edge. And then when you put that up against something, you can see that edge much crisper.
Mhm.
So depending upon your color, it takes seconds to do something like that.
Right.
If you have an ink pad, if you're a stamper and you
Mhm.
have ink pads,
Yeah.
that is a super simple way to just your edges of paper and you're really quick and really fast. So
Yes,
certainly
absolutely.
options to do that. So there is the file that we have placed available for a free download, and it's so simple. You can pick up shadow boxes. I know I
Every
usually get
place.
them at Joann's.
Yeah, Joann's, Hobby Lobby,
All of those places, you know,
Target,
Amazon. I mean,
Amazon.
everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere, everywhere. So you want to talk about this?
So I if you have never been into the store before, you might not know Tucker. If you have been into the store, you've seen Tucker. She's at the front counter, she's helping everybody. She is just as sweet as can be, and we love her to death.
Back to the...
So she wanted to create some basically Leabu, she calls them Leabu originals. So she created this adorable pillow. If you saw the email that we sent out and you saw the picture of the design, that was Tucker. Tucker created that. Letha and I just wanted to point out that she drew this. So, when I do a design, I find some clip art someplace and I trace around the clip art
Yep.
because I have zero
I have
drawing
zero
skills.
artistic drawing ability. Yeah, it's...
You'll have to show on
I can
that
do
camera.
that. Yeah.
She drew this on her iPad with the iPad pencil and created all of these designs. And then we're going to show you what it looks like when they actually came
So
to be.
here's the center, which is the largest block. It says
Right.
Happy Halloween. We've got like the broomstick with the cat on the broomstick, and there's a bat flying
Yeah.
above that.
And like there's detail on the line of the happy. It's like a bat on the edge. So like like a wing there. So she did it. This isn't a font that she found.
No, she drew it.
She drew it and then she digitized it. So she did such a good job. I'm so proud of her.
I am too. She really did a phenomenal job. And all of these are her brainchild, first of all, and then in addition to that, she was able to take that vision and turn it into an actually digitized design for you all to be able to go home and stitch.
Exactly.
So love. So the files are up and live. You can download them if you would like. They are the first of the Leabu originals from that perspective. We've got some others that are not quite in that realm of large projects. We've got smaller projects of things that we've done.
Yes.
But this is totally in a different realm. I love this.
I know, it's so cute.
So I wanted to make sure that we showed this as well. So I'll show the rest of the pillow first. So this is the actual stitch outs. All right, I'm gonna zoom in here by moving the pillow, not actually hitting the zoom. So here's a cute playful kitty with the pumpkin. We've got bats up here, and then we've got the moon and stars here with a little bit of stitching. An adorable hat with the buckle and a little spider. We've got like potion jars with some potion books and maybe magical spell books. I don't know what they're her specific, but look at that main center block. Is that not beautiful? She did such a great job. We've got the broom, like I said, with the cat riding the broom, and then she's got the bats along with her hand drawn font there. Another broom over here. I don't think there's anything spooky about this. I think it's just too darling, but
I know.
the spooky is very cute.
And those
And then we've got these just say
Boo.
Pac-Man to me.
Yeah, I know,
love
right?
them. I absolutely love them. And they say boo.
Right.
And then
I love that there's like meow in the cat bubble, in
I
the
know
thought
cat
bubble.
says meow. And then there's this cute little corner block, which again we've got there's vinyl there, so it's really there we
Glary.
go.
Yeah.
We've got the moon and the stars in there as well. So and she's got the quilting behind that. Absolutely stunning and beautiful.
Right.
If you are interested, there is an alternate option for this in which this can be a shaker block. So it is a ability to put whatever gems or sequins or whatever you want to put in there and turn that into a shaker block if you would like that to be there. So 2 different options for that square there.
It is just darling. She did such a great job on that.
And that finishes out approximately 18 by 18.
Yes.
And like we said, the files are live, and the
the files aren't
no, I'm sorry. The listing is live.
Yes.
The files will be ready probably the beginning of October.
Yes.
But you can pre-order, and you can also pre-order a embellishment fabric kit. So basically to get it the way that you saw it, that is an available option.
It is, and it is just too cute.
So
like she just did a phenomenal job. We are just so lucky to have her here, and she just taught a PE palette software class. She did a fantastic job. So if you are trying to learn your software, it's definitely a great opportunity. I know she's got big plans for software for next year, to do some videos and things like that. So we are finally making big headways on software thanks to Tucker. But she's got plans to do a couple of other pillows. So, or it could be a cute little wall hanging, either or, but it matches this perfectly. It's like,
it's like we all have cat on the brain or something.
Yes,
I don't know.
Exactly.
So, there is the piece we did today,
Yes.
and the piece that Tucker has created will be ready shortly for you.
Yes, absolutely. So you can find both of the files on our website, or if when this video is over, in the description, there is a direct link right to both files.
Yep.
So you can click either or. The SVG files will be free, or if you're on our website and you search for free shadowbox, it's in the freebies section. You will find that file in there. And
so this particular file that we did, you can get right off of our website. If you are looking for other things like, okay, this is really great, I like it, but I'm not a cat person or whatever, and you're looking for other files. Don't break Sarah's heart. Just keep that to yourself. But some places that we are, I don't want frequenter is the right word, but places that we go and we trust their files, and
they have some of our money.
They have maybe more than some. But yes, the designbundles.net is definitely somewhere I get cut files from. I actually joined the club there because I figured by the time I've definitely saved more money going that route than buying everything separately for sure. That doesn't mean I don't still buy things outside of the club, but it definitely has saved me money going that route. Really, really happy with that. You can get all different types of things there, which is always very helpful. Some other places where I have been looking, but I have not purchased, so I can't speak to the files and how well they go together or not. Creative Fabrica has a lot of shadow boxes, and I do mean a lot, like pages upon pages upon pages upon pages.
Yeah.
And they have them in all different, holidays and themes and babies and all different kinds of things you can find there. They look great. And as far as, cut files, there's not I don't want to say there's not a whole lot to it that you can screw up, because
Mhm.
you certainly can screw up a cut file, but it's not like an embroidery file where, it's not the same thing. So
Right.
I would feel pretty comfortable buying from them, based on the pictures and whatnot.
Yeah.
And the reviews have been, what I saw were very good. So Creative Fabrica for shadow boxes, if you would like to look at some other ones outside of the design bundles. And then some other paper craft, kind of like what we were doing with the black and 3D pumpkins and different things like that. I am super excited. I've got their page up. It's been on my website, and I putting things in, and I can't decide what I want to buy. So that's the only problem. The only reason I haven't bought it yet is because I can't decide what.
Gotta buy them all.
Like, not buying them all. So
We're that
it's-
kind of friend.
she
All of
encourages
them.
me to spend my money on a regular basis. But yeah, so it's an Etsy shop,
Mhm.
and they have some really, really great paper sculpture things that you could put lighting behind, or those
Mhm.
kinds of things. So
And that is Goma or
so
Gom Art.
GOM, and then art craft.
Craft.
So G as in George, O-M as in Mary.
Gomart Craft. Gomart Craft. That sounds better.
That sounds much. Yep, we'll go with that. So yeah, there's a lot of things out there though, and like we were saying, cut
Mhm.
files aren't quite as scary as buying random things as when you're buying an embroidery file and you don't know what you're getting. That's a total nother
Mhm.
ball of wax. So
Yeah.
certainly.
Mindy said she doesn't decorate for Halloween anymore. I could totally, she is in love with the new Kimberbell one with the turkey. I can totally see her, Tucker will do a turkey, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure she's gonna do a turkey.
Yes.
She's already got plans.
She has lots of plans.
Those seagulls are gonna be in there.
I have a feeling seagulls with,
There's gonna be seagulls in one with fringe for she's calling it a mullet.
yeah, it's kind of a mullet, yeah.
Kind of a mullet,
Yeah,
which I thought was very cute. So yes, there's lots of plans.
so for sure. And Candy found the freebies.
Wonderful. So we went with something that was not specifically Halloween, because everybody doesn't go crazy, but a lot
Right.
of people do fall and those kinds of things. So this was more of a pumpkin. Cats are can be Halloween, but it's not like a.
I mean, if you're a cat person, they're an all
They're
the time.
just an all
That's
the time
right.
thing. So that was kind of why we went this route, versus doing there.
I totally think I need to make one of those for my vet. Wouldn't that be a cute gift?
Absolutely. It so would. But yeah, so
Maybe my vet bill will be less expensive.
you got an appointment on Friday, so you got to be prepared.
Nothing like a deadline.
Well, there you go, right? Just got to get a shadow box. So, but yeah, so lots of things out there to be had, and as you saw, they're not hard.
Mhm.
The machine does the hard work. Your biggest hurdle will be making sure the paper stays stuck to the mat, but is not stuck so well that it doesn't come back off.
Right.
So, because as we talked about, the different tears of paper, you want to make sure that you have that consistency if that's what you're looking for, or the white if that's what you're looking for, but mixing them doesn't always work.
Right.
So pay attention to what is inside the cardstock, because it definitely
Can matter.
it can matter, and it can matter a lot, especially if it doesn't come off the mat well. Then you see if you're having any of those issues. So for sure can be a thing.
Yes.
All right. What else you got?
There's a couple more. If you go to our website, we have a couple new what's new things. There's a Kimberbell Seasons quilt, 4 seasons. We'll talk more about it later, but
It's brand
if
new.
you've
so
seen it on the Kimberbellas and Fellas
it's a
website,
pre-order thing.
yep, we do have ours up for sale already.
And like always, if you pre-order from us, we will be including quilting designs.
we will.
So that will have some fun things that you can add in.
Yes.
So
Tucker's Pillow has quilting designs built into the design,
built
so you don't have
into
to
the
do them in
squares.
2
Yep.
separate.
So it's all in one shebang there. But yeah, so if you're wondering, well, yeah, I can get that anywhere. Yep, you probably can. But there is definitely a benefit to pre-ordering from us.
Plus a little bit of a discount when you pre-order the whole bundle.
Yep.
So I know a lot of people, I feel like I should just say this because I've been thinking about it for a while. A lot of people follow someone else's website on Facebook to do all of their stuff. Like she does a lot of
There's a
a
lot
lot of
of
videos and things
on
like
how
that.
to's.
Yep, and she always encourages people to buy from her sponsors, which I totally get because she's doing a lot of it. But
And there's a reason that you say those things, because they're your sponsors.
they're your sponsors, yes. But also, you know, don't forget your dealers, because we're always here, and we can't stay here.
We
if-
can't stay here if people don't buy stuff from us.
That's right. That is right. So that's why we try to do the quilting designs, because everybody is doing the same thing, and we
Yep.
really appreciate you picking us over the other 10,000
Absolutely.
people.
So that's our
who
little
are
thank
doing
you.
it. So yes,
And we give those for free when you do the pre-orders of those large releases.
yes.
So.
We sold out of our first round of nativity pillows. The second round you can purchase still. We're still waiting on the blue navy linen.
Yes.
So we have that we're waiting for. It should be coming this week. It's not moving. The shipment it's staying right where it's at.
Says it's in stock, but they're not
and,
shipping it to us.
The Thanksgiving pillow.
Yep. We're waiting on one.
We're
fabric
waiting
for.
on one fabric.
We've had
we've been that close
we've
for a
been
while.
so close for a while.
Yeah, the outside border is one of the new Kimberbell fabrics, and we received half of our fabrics, but not the other half.
And that was one of those half that we haven't gotten.
One of the halves. So it could still be another week or so before we have that. But that's what the holdup is for that, and we promise we will send those
soon
kits
as it's
out
here,
just as soon as
we'll
can.
get that turned back around.
Yes, so we apologize for the delay. We didn't want to substitute that border, but it felt like it was important to wait for that. But that's the holdup. It's one of the new basics that she revised.
Yep.
And I think that's it.
I think so. You know, we've got just about all the Kimberbell stuff around here. So this is all things that are not Kimberbell for all of you not Kimberbell people. Because we definitely, we get that, you know, don't you guys do anything that's not Kimberbell? So yes, we do.
Yes,
and,
we do.
But by all means, we know a lot of you love Kimberbell.
Yep.
So.
And we have the ability to do the new OESD designs. So
yes, and thank you to all of those who have come out the last couple of weeks. We've had quite a few orders for the designs on demand. So remember, we can get any of those for you immediately.
Yes. Yep.
So.
And they're not all on our website, but if you want one, send us an email. We can send you the invoice, take care of it over the telephone with you, whatever.
Like.
And if it is on sale on the website, it is also on sale for us to give to you. So we love that. But we can't put them all. We can't keep up with their daily sales.
We can't have all of them here either. There's just no way.
So but we can get them all.
We can get them all for you now. So lots of wonderful things moving forward.
Yes,
so
I think that's it.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We hope you enjoyed the adorable shadow box and can see how easy it is. You can make lots. That one and a whole bunch of others all on your own.
Yes.
So thanks for hanging out. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all of those good things. Follow, like, subscribe,
thumbs up, hearts. No sad faces.
So, all right. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys next time.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Wrong button. Bye.